of a college major in the sense that there's no gateway. Any student can join as long as they're able to fulfill all the requirements of the Academy. They are encouraged to do so, and they'll get all the experiences the Academy has to offer. As you came in, chances are you got one of several pieces of paper. We have an importance dates sheet, which I believe each of you guys got, potentially. Actually, I didn't put that one out. This is the one I didn't put out. Well, I got them. They can. So the officers are going to come around and give you guys one of these. On the back, you may have gotten one of these because on the back is your parent. It was your invitation to this. On this sheet, there's a series of important dates in the next couple months. It's not an exhaustive list. It's also subject to change. As I'll show you later, we have a calendar now on our website that's the best way to stay up to date on any given events that are happening for the Academy. That website link is also on the sheet, as is the login to each of our Remind 101s for each grade and the whole Academy, as well as the Google Classroom. So this is the best way to stay up to date for things that are happening for every grade level and for the whole Academy. This sheet, the requirements sheet, this is just to keep track of where your child or your student should be as they're going through the course sequence of the Academy. Oh, I can speak up. That's totally fine. Yeah. All right, so I'll say that again. So we have an important dates sheet. That's what you guys are getting coming around right now. On it has the logins for each of the Google Classrooms, as well as the Remind 101 for the Academy and each of the different grade levels. It also has the Academy website, which is awesome, and I'm going to show you later, and several other things. You've also probably picked up the course requirements sheet. This shows you all the different courses you should have taken at every point along the course sequence, as well as our Chipotle fundraiser, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about why that's important later, and a shirt order form. We're going to have our school pictures mid-November, and so the deadline for ordering shirts for this year is October 2nd. If your child's student already got a shirt last year, it's the same design as last year, so you don't need to get another one in order for them to look like everybody else. But if they've changed sizes, I know some people grow, UV. And so sometimes it's good to move up. I was an odd child in the sense I always got extra large because I always thought I was going to get a lot bigger. And so I always figured, so I have all these shirts that I still don't fit from when I was like 12. But not everyone has that kind of aspirations. All right, so to give you a little bit of background about the Academy and the history of the career clusters, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it started. So MCPS was doing some research, and one of the things they discovered was that when students have a sense of relevance, that the things they're studying are relevant to what they want to learn and what they want to do career-wise, they tend to be more engaged and they tend to do better. And so throughout the school system, they looked at what sorts of business opportunities, what sort of industry was in different places in the county. And so here in Germantown, we have a huge section of the biotech sector, everything from emergent biosolutions to MedImmune and so on and so forth. And so it was the ideal location to have the Academy of Biotechnology here. And so from there, that also gives a lot of opportunities for field trips, for collaboration, for guest speakers, et cetera. And so that's how this formed about, I think, 13 years ago. So with this comes the rigor of a rigorous program, along with the relevance of career-based instruction that students are interested in, and the relationships with people in those fields. So we recommend the foundation courses, biology, chemistry, and physics, as it says on your sheet, for your children, students to take in their freshman and sophomore year. So that's a recommendation. We do have some students that haven't taken all three by junior year and are taking some concurrently with molecular biotechnology. Usually that's physics. The reason for that, the reason we suggest these in freshman and sophomore year is because by junior year, they're going to be taking 2 periods of molecular biotechnology. And in this course, which the first 3 officers here have taken and Daniel took and is currently taken, so later on there'll be question opportunities if you want to know more about the course from a student's perspective, they're here. But the course is really great at developing all kinds of lab skills and lab thinking that's really, really useful in any sort of internship in any of these places in the community. And so it's suggested to get all these out of the way so that they can all take molecular biotechnology during their junior year. And then should they want to during their senior year, they can intern and they can interview for those internships saying, I can do gel electrophoresis, I can apply recombinant DNA to an experiment, I can even do protein crystallography, I can do whatever you want. And they'll have had those skills and they can speak with confidence. Sure.
Can they take chemistry, physics in the same grade?
Yeah. So a lot of students take chemistry. Raise your hand if you guys took chemistry and physics in the same grade. So a lot of them will do that, their freshman or sophomore year.
Class 10 here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. All right, so some of the benefits. So there's a lot of college and graduate level experience that they're getting here. There's a lot of labs, and I'll talk about some of them later, that I didn't get to do until far through college. And many of my friends haven't done until graduate school, until they're actually working towards their dissertation. And so it's really great for getting those experience. The academy also requires they take a certain amount of advanced placement courses and advanced science credit, and so it also gives them those options. And then also many students in the academy end up taking really advanced internships specifically in the field. So for example, I think 3 of you have some of those, right? Anisha, where are you working?
So this summer I interned with the NIH, and it was a really great experience.
So last summer I interned at Food and Drug Administration, and I'm continuing that internship as a half-day schedule through the internship program here. And I'm also interning at the Biomedical Research Institute.
And I'm actually interning this year at JPEG Venture Institute, which is basically like a lab research and conference.
So they get lots of really great opportunities, and this is the perfect gateway into those opportunities. It's a little excited. All right, so I've spoken much about this, about the rigor. I've talked about some of the relationships. We're going to get into some of that later. One thing I touched upon, but I want to speak a little bit more to is, one of the ways I've redesigned the course and the program since I started working in it last year is I've changed it to being an assessment and a skill completion model. So the idea is, for example, when we go through lab math, so doing dilutions, et cetera, students can't move on until they've gotten 100%. So I have 35 different versions of a given quiz, so that until that they know and they can say, I know this, I have this skill down pat, they'll do it again. And they'll get practice, they'll get reinforcement. But the idea is when they finish this course, I don't want them to have a doubt in their mind that they don't have all these skills and they can't do all these things. I want them to be able to walk into an interview and not stutter when they ask them, can you do this? Can you calculate dilutions? I want them to be able to say, yes, I absolutely can without a doubt. So if something doesn't work, we have the materials, we have the time for them to try a lab again. Because lab work is not a construct of there is a right answer. Oftentimes, a lab might mess up, and you should do it again so you can get the data you need in order to make a claim. And so that's a firm philosophy of our program. All right, so this is the basic course sequence in the course. So this is when they take molecular biotechnology. So it starts off with a history of biotechnology unit. We're in that now. And then going over some of the basic lab skills. And so that includes some of the lab math. Then looking at cell structure and function review. And for that, we have this new toy from Emergent Biosolutions. We have a series of advanced microscopes that can do up to 2000x with oil immersion, and also allow us to connect cameras and take pictures of what we've taken, so they can insert the pictures in their lab report. So that's pretty nice. Moving on from there, we start looking at macromolecule structure and function, proteins, nucleic acids, protein synthesis, and gene regulation. Then we start looking at lots of different very current lab techniques. And finally, we look into how that works today in terms of legal, funding, ethical issues in biotechnology. And they do a semester-long stock project where they look at what kind of local, national, international things affect the industry. And so let's say they're not planning to go at it from a research perspective. Let's say they're planning to go into the industry from a business perspective. They should know more about how it works. So it gives them more of a holistic approach. All right, so I touched on some of these techniques. They'll learn everything from DNA extraction, gel electrophoresis for both protein and DNA. We even do SDS-PAGE, which is pretty awesome. I didn't do that until my senior year proteomics lab. Restriction enzyme analysis, protein crystallography, PCR, ELISA, microarray, microscopy, sequencing, bioinformatics. And then some. So the student association, so it's student-led. Here are officers. They apply yearly. This is a change. It used to be a voting process. I wanted to change that largely because I wanted to make sure that they're owning the positions, but also that they really can say that they have contributed to the program. And so I felt that as an elected office, it wasn't necessarily as strong individually for the officers, whereas if they were applying, they had to make the case for why they can fill those positions, what kind of experience they have in order to be able to do those things. And so each of the young men and women you have in front of you all did that process and all have proven. So for example, I'll talk about they'll talk about their positions in a minute, but you can see Daniel's in the back. He's filming us, and so his position is in charge of documentation. And so he actually will train other members of the academy who want to learn how to film or edit presentations, how to do so. All right, so a bunch of the ways you can communicate or you can follow up. So the school website, from there you can find our website, or you can just go to the link which you have on the paper. The one with all the important dates has that link. It's biotech.nwhjags.com. You can also follow on the Google Classroom. On this website, by the way, is a calendar that's linked to the calendar from the Google Classroom. So anything that we post in the Google Classroom will also show up on the website automatically. Similarly, we also have a Remind 101, and that'll also give more information. What I do suggest is that have your children make sure to sign up for both of these, because while the Google Classroom can only email to their school email account, the Remind 101 will get to whatever they choose. And so in that way, we can make sure that they're receiving the information as fast as necessary. So these are some past field trips. We've gone to the National Library of Medicine, MedImmune, Copeland Science Museum, National Aquarium, Maryland Science Museum, Montgomery College, and last year we went to the MD Mobile Biolabs. This year, it's the first year I think in about 5 or 6 years where we've done more than one field trip. We're aiming to do 3. We're going to go to NIH, Walter Reed, and I'm hoping to do each of these this semester. I might switch one of them with the museum, but the idea for this semester is that way before the internship program takes its applications in January, all the students will have opportunities to have seen these facilities that they might want to apply to for internships for next year. Then in the spring, but again also potentially in the fall, the National Museum of Health and Medicine. So I've been in communication with each of these, and you'll see on the calendar there's some tentative dates where there will be a field trip likely, and the question is just which one will be placed where. All right, Lunch and Learns. So the Academy has guest speakers. All Academy members are welcome. Last year, all current Academy members received IDs. We've just printed the IDs for this year for all people who've joined since last year. An ID is necessary to get in because oftentimes the guest speakers will bring food for everyone. Not in all cases, and it'll be written on the calendar whether or not there'll be food provided. But the idea is it's a special experience for Academy members. Now, mind you, anyone can join the Academy, but we want to make sure that people aren't just coming in for food. So this will be at least once a month. The dates are already on the calendar. You might notice that there's some that say open next to them. What that means is that we're still waiting to fill it with a speaker. They will all be filled before the date. But let's say that you're like, hey, I like to speak, or you know somebody who likes to speak and has a lot to share. That tells you that spot's open, and you can say, hey, I would like to speak, or I know someone who would like to speak. Put them in touch with us, and you can fill in that spot. Okay? And they can see on the website. The current ones for the fall are October 12th, November 2nd, December 14th, and January 11th. This is one of our guest speakers from last year. It's Tim Bono. He's the Assistant Dean of Students at Washington University in St. Louis. He is nationally renowned for, he gives this TED Talk on happiness and on positive psychology. He was the officiant at my wedding, so he was actually in town at that day specifically helping wedding planning, but he really enjoyed his time here. He plans to come every year to give a talk. He's quite wonderful. Read his book's coming out soon. It's When Likes Aren't Enough. It's pretty cool. So relationship. We have a really close relationship with our business partner, Emergent Biosolutions. They're the ones who provided these microscopes, and previously the Chromebooks, and before that our BioImager. Every year they're very generous and donate a lot of money to the program. They also provide us with guest speakers. Usually when we have 30 pizzas, it's from them. For the last couple of years, they've had construction, so that's why we haven't done a field trip there. But we're hoping by the end of this year, if not next year, we'll be able to resume doing field trips to their facilities. We've also had at least one student interning there each year. These testimonials can be seen in the brochure, so I'll skip past this for now. and I'll get into the new things. So what's new in the academy? If you've been here before, because I had a couple parents asking me beforehand, if I've seen this before, do I need to be here? Do I need to come? And so I said, you don't need to be here, but there will be some new things, and now we're getting into the new things. And some of these are exciting. So the updated organized website, I'm going to talk about these things. We're also going to be ordering medals and lab coats specifically for the senior celebration here. That doesn't mean anything for graduation, it's just for here, for our own celebration purposes. And then some improvements from last year, as I mentioned, the microscopes, many field trips, and then we're going to talk about the officer positions and the application process. So this is our lab coat that we're going to order for seniors when they graduate so they can take it to college with them. And so any labs that they want to do in college, they'll have the nice biotech insignia, and they can feel, their friends will be like, so where'd that come from? It's like, oh, I was in the Academy of Biotechnology, didn't you know? And so that's kind of nice. And it's not, it won't be that much, it's about $30. So it's pretty decent for something that nice, I think. And this is the medallion, so it also has the biotech insignia. All right, and so with that said, I would like, so our officers are going to come forward. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves, but also about their position. So should any of you have children that you would like to see as officers someday, or who you think might be interested in the position, you can know a little bit more about them.
Hi everyone, I'm Anusha. I'm a senior here, and I am the Academy President. So basically what my position involves is creating an agenda for the year and communicating with all the members for if they have any questions, they can always come to, well, any of us. And also I create, also I lead, basically lead all the events that we have here. And I delegate duties to all the other officers. So I look forward to growing the Academy, and I think we're going to have a great year. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm the first vice president. I'm also a senior. I handle social outreach and event planning, which basically means that I work with Mr. Silber to look for field trips and off-site interesting experiences for our Academy members. I also work with Mr. Silber to handle the logistical side of these trips. And we also handle the fundraising and kind of the t-shirts and things like that we can use to generate money for the Academy. And I also work with the other officers to handle these things as well. So, yeah.
So to add to that, actually, was all the field trips we have this year, Ryan found over the summer, and he had a list and he emailed me. And so I picked from those the 3 that we would do this year after contacting them. So he gave me the emails and everything. It was so easy. So thanks, Ryan.
Hi, I'm Daniel Sanchez Mendoza. I'm actually the vice president, second vice president. I deal with documentation. So that means photography and videography, such as recording this and then uploading it to the Google Classroom, which almost every student could access online.
Hey guys, so I'm Riddy. I'm vice president number 3, and I basically assist with all fundraising and ordering for the Academy. And I also assist with the other vice presidents and Mr. Silver as well for finding field trips. And as a main requirement for the Academy, all members have to complete extracurricular credits. So I'm also important for finding third competition requirements that all members can join. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Anne. I'm the 4th vice president, and my partner was supposed to be here with me, but he couldn't make it today. His name is UV. We inform members of their requirements. We document members' credits, and we also keep track of member progress. So, yeah.
So it's pretty clear that they handle about as much as I do, and definitely I rely on them a lot. So real quick, I skipped one thing. Probably the thing that I'm most excited about is the website. So I'm going to pull that up, and then we'll go to questions. So we're just about there. So the website, as I mentioned, is really exciting because we have a lot of new aspects to it that make it really navigable. So for example, and I don't know why I think it's like so we've got these features up here, like we have links and forms. So I know in the past, a lot of students have had trouble finding their documentation form, which they can find here for their different activities. So both Riddy and Ann just talked about that in addition to their course requirements, they also need to do a certain amount of extracurricular work. And so they can fill those forms out, and they can see examples of them here, as well as Riddy mentioned, opportunities for completing Category 3 are also written here. So it's easy to access. Also just below here, we mentioned that our Lunch and Learn series is all filmed. And so if you go to this link, you can watch any of the Lunch and Learns, any of our guest speakers that we've ever had. And thanks to Daniel and his team.
Alert to me. I'll figure out pretty soon that it's not me. You know, I can use that whole.
It's got pretty good sound quality, as you can see. So we've got all the lectures. So for example, I mentioned Tim Bono earlier. Oh, these are reverse order.
Different topics.
We've had great difficulty answering questions about how many kids were on the bus, or what time was on the clock, or provide information about.
So cool stuff. So going back to the website. Cool. All right, so back on the website, the other thing I really want to draw you to is the calendar. So as I mentioned, the calendar has everything. So for example, tonight's activity right here is 7 p.m. Academy of Biotechnology. If you click on that, it'll have all the information about it. So this event is for all parents of members of the Academy of Biotechnology. It's a meeting. In this meeting, parents will be updated about the opportunities Academy members will have for the upcoming year and so on and so forth. So as you go through, you'll also see I mentioned Lunch and Learns. So in October, Open Lunch and Learn, we're still looking for a speaker. So again, if any of you are interested or know someone who is, catch it while it's still open. Tentative field trip date in this time range, et cetera. So that's really useful. And then you can see all the officers. And should your child have questions for one of them, each of their emails is attached to here. You won't be able to email them because, and you can see in the bottom corner where their email address is, because they're school email accounts and only other school email accounts can email them, but for the same reason, we don't have to worry about them getting spam. And then finally, if your child isn't, or if you know someone else who's interested, if they're not currently in it, the link for joining is now at the top, as is my contact information, which goes to the bottom. Yeah, so with that, we can move to questions. For myself or for them? Sure.
So my son is ninth grade now, so he's taking honors biology now, and like you said, when would he take physics and chemistry?
Next
Because
year.
He has all 8 periods full with other subjects.
So his sophomore year, usually there'll be one period for elective, and so he can use that to fill an extra science course his sophomore year.
He can take physics as a regular course, and then elective can be a chemistry.
Yeah,
And one more.
sure.
Nobody has. So the lunch and learn, the important dates, can he come to that, or? is it-
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, no, that's for all members.
so he can just come in.
Yeah, it's in room
So
307.
The second one says can help for category credits. What's
So
that?
category credits, there's, do either of you guys want to answer that one? There are 3 areas of category credits. So the first area, category 1, is observing science. So that could be going to a lunch and learn, that could be going to a science fair, that could be going to a lecture series at NIH, what have you. The idea is that you're seeing science done or you're seeing it spoken about. Category 2 is participating. So that could be in any number of our science clubs at the school, participating in Science Bowl, Robotics Club, 4SW, Chemathon. It could also be participating in a competition online, which there's a bunch of dates and links posted on the calendar and on the classroom. It could also be participating in the county science fair. So again, the idea is you're doing science in a way that is active and competitive. And then category 3 is giving back. And so it's helping the academy in any way. So that's kind of similar to things like the honor societies where you're giving back. And so, so for example, like category 3 on the website, anytime we're having an event, it'll be listed on that document. So for example, tonight was listed for help setting up and cleaning up. So all of the officers here will be getting one of their category 3 credits checked off for that.
So where will those credits appear? Is this report card?
Oh, no, those are part of their requirements for the academy for being members.
So you have that.
Yeah, so I have that. We have a binder that at the end of the year they submit them. And so as Ann mentioned, Vice President 4, part of their role is going through and documenting the completion of category credit requirements. So they do it and they write reflections on 2 of them. So it's kind of, it's not a lot. It's not difficult, but it documents the learning that they're going through, the experience.
So if he comes for the mentioned learn, he will be given a credit for attending the event.
For category 1, yeah. Yeah, good question. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah. A little louder?
Is this academy most beneficial for students who want to be doctors?
I would say that it is definitely beneficial for students who want to be doctors. I don't know if I want to say best, specifically because I feel like that'd be competing with the other academies. And I think all the programs we have at Northwest are really great. But I do think that the skills that you would learn in this academy are really useful and definitely prepare you for any lab work. And also the fact that we do incentivize taking upper level science courses that'll also help prepare you for college and medical school. So yes, I do think it is, again, I'm afraid to say best because then that's competitive, but I will say that as a program, you will be very well prepared by this program for medical school or to be doctors eventually.
And not just doctors, I would say for any science profession that you want to go into, chemistry, physics, biology, the academy is really good.
Wonderful question. What grade are you in? Ninth. Awesome. What's your name? Millie? Oh, I got an email from you. Yeah. Wonderful. It's nice to meet you. I saw another hand over here. Yeah.
Hi. So my question is about the internships.
Sure.
So I've heard a couple of you say that you intern between junior and senior year. Is that typical, or how do you do that? Please say that again. So I noticed that in summer you said you interned this summer before the senior year. Is that effective? Does the academy help students do that?
So I think a lot of us, we contacted the internship coordinator, which is Ms. Phillips, and she works with the academy. So kind of at the end of the end of junior year, I talked to Ms. Phillips, and she helped me find like a lot of options. And so we just reach out to the different places we want to intern. So like for the NIH, there's an online application. So towards the end of junior year, I started working on that, and I got a reply back saying yes, I can work in their lab. So yeah, that's how that worked out. But some students also, at the end of junior year, they'll work with Ms. Phillips to get a half-day schedule. So they would actually be leaving school in senior year, probably like after lunch, and they'll do an internship like during the year, which is what they did.
You get paid.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Also, so we do set up with Ms. Phillips. We have 4 meetings, 1 for each grade, for them to talk about the internship program in around December and January, just before they start applying for the internship program they mentioned. In addition, we get a lot of practice with interviewing and interview skills during the program. Yep.
When can they start apply for the internship?
So again, that's
Starts like at the end of junior year.
No, I mean after class 9,
no 11th grade,
not in 9 and 10.
not 9 and 10.
11. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we confirm that they are enrolled in the academy now?
If they're a part of the Google Classroom, you can consider them enrolled in the academy. So the moment they apply on the website, myself and Am and Yuvi, who's not here today, all get an email update saying that an application's been submitted. And then whichever of us get to the application first, we send them an invitation to Google Classroom, and we send them an email with all the information for Mind 101, Google Classroom, the important dates form that you guys have, as well as an invitation to meet with us in person to figure out what kind of things they need. For students that have applied in the last 2 or 3 weeks, what we've told them is that they don't need to set up that first appointment because there's going to be this meeting tonight. And then this coming Friday at lunch will be our first academy meeting where we're going to go over all the same kind of things we're going over with you now with the students themselves. And so that'll forego any sort of personal catch-up they'll have to do because we're catching everyone up here.
So we should be elected at the time of registration for this academy?
Sure.
So do we have to do it again?
Did they apply online?
No, with the form that what the school foundation.
I'm not sure I know about
There
this.
is a registration form like which comes from the middle school. During that time, like we elected this as the option.
Okay. I'm not, Mr. DeAndrew, do you know about that form? I haven't heard about that form.
Because
So that's expressing interest. Okay, I don't know if I've ever received that.
Yeah, that's what my question was.
Okay, so I'll find out more about that from Mr. DeAndrea. What I would suggest, if you don't know that they've joined, have them come to the website for now and join that way. Yeah. Yeah?
My son is a junior, so he's been in the academy, but I just noticed that he's actually taking AP chemistry, I'm sorry, physics this year. He's a junior.
Sure.
So it's on the list for you for 12th grade, and in the senior year, it should be part of the MC dual enrollment.
Yeah.
Is it possible when he's a junior?
So you're saying, he's in the MC squared program, is that what you're saying?
Well, he's supposed to take the honors physics at any time. He ended up
Oh, so AP Physics can forego it if you take.
only a junior.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So
So this is all, that course requirement system is with the understanding, assuming that they're taking molecular biotechnology their junior year.
he's taking your class.
And he's also taking physics.
Yes.
That's fine.
So, but here, I did.
Here, let me look at it.
I couldn't see it anyway. Anyway, dual enrollment at MC for all these. So
No,
if
no, no,
he's-
no, no, no. That's just for this, college
Okay, I
bioscience.
was just-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
goodness, I haven't
So for those of you
thought
looking at the
about
course
that. You
requirements
never told
form,
me.
there's this part that says college biosciences. So there is dual enrollment opportunity
one.
at MC
That
to take some courses there, and that would
Great.
count. And so that's what that's referring to. All the ones underneath are AP classes offered here at Northwest.
Okay, so the first two, I understand, so one each.
Yeah,
Now that makes me feel better.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm very small.
Gotcha. Who's your son?
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay, wonderful. He plays chess.
Yes.
We spoke about chess. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. No, they only have to apply once. The only thing every year is they won't even have to join the new Remind because that's going to move with them. We just changed the name. We changed it. It used to say what grade they were in. Now it says class of, and so it'll move with them. They'll still need to come to the meetings every year, the opening meeting, just in case there's new things to tell them. But they do not need to apply ever again. Any other questions? Cool. So if you guys want, I'll be here for at least another 20 minutes. So if any of you guys want to come and ask me questions one-on-one, if they're willing, you're welcome to come ask any of the officers questions. And I'm always reachable by email, which you can find at the bottom of the website or on the school website. So thanks for coming. Oh, wonderful. And I saw your son just joined as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So he's in the
Yeah.
Academy of Biotechnology.